Welcome back to Crypto Meets AI. Jerry here with an update for you. Do me a favor, friends. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. Now let's get into this. We're sitting at $3.05, trading within a range of 302 to 312. We're down about 1.5% on the 24-hour. We've been pretty much just trading sideways ever since we crashed back down from 318. In my opinion, it's just unpredictable. But there's so much market manipulation going on that it's just unpredictable. And I know the unpopular opinion is the IMF, the BIS, the DTC, SWIFT, Fed, BlackRock, the world's largest commercial banks such as Bank of America, JP Morgan, are all allocated a portion of the escrow currently held by Ripple. I have no proof, but no doubts either. It's clear that everyone will use XRP. Now it's time to go down that rabbit hole. Christine Lagarde didn't just leave the IMF, she left Ripple in the IMF. Ripple has been inside the IMF boardrooms for years, from secret advisory groups to tokenization pilots. Ripple is the IMF's new settlement system. Here's the truth they'll never let out. In 2011, Christine Lagarde, former IMF, now ECB, told the world that the IMF would need to reinvent itself for digital future. Fast forward a decade, she leaves the IMF to run the ECB, but the connections she left behind were never severed. They were multiplied. The International Monetary Fund, the European Central Bank, and the one and only Ripple.
One of the main topics up there was cryptocurrencies and all sorts of companies now getting into this effort, not least among them Facebook. What kind of threat does this pose to the traditional banking system?
Well, I think you have incumbents, the banks, commercial banks, and you have the disruptors. And clearly the disruptors are having an impact on the incumbents. We just heard a very large systemic bank here saying that they're launching their digital coin, currently piloted in a way within the institutional clients, but to be scaled beyond that. We heard from...
One of the main topics up there was cryptocurrencies and all sorts of companies now getting into this effort.
What do you think? Was she talking about Ripple right there? Comment down below and tell me what you think. Buried in IMF advisory groups are Ripple executives. Jesse Chang, former Ripple counsel, quietly placed on the IMF high-level fintech advisory board. Brad Garlinghouse, a team invited into closed IMF policy talks. Ask yourself, why Ripple? At the exact same time, the IMF was discussing the need for a digital SDR, a blockchain-based special drawing right that could replace the dollar as the world's reserve. What blockchain could settle cross-border instantly? What ledger is ISO 222 native? The XRP, my friends. BRICS talks of diversification away from the dollar. The IMF pushes for a new SDR. ECB builds tokenized rails. Different headlines, but one hidden backbone. XRPL has already been tested by BRICS. Ripple is the silent bridge. Just look at the documents. And if you look closer, JP Morgan and other giants aren't just testing Ripple rails. They're testing the credential systems that make it safe for institutions to move. XLS 70, verifiable credentials. XLS 80, permission domains, are the hidden keys. What was built for it on the XRPL? DNA on chain. Without them, trillions in liquidity can't flow. In 2018, that pipsqueak Gary Gensler already teaching digital ID at MIT, how identity would be managed on blockchain. Now look at Ripple's XLS 70 and XLS 80 and the rise of genomic credential systems like DNA protocol. The identity layer wasn't theory, it was the plan all along. Meanwhile, Lagarde's ECB is piloting tokenized settlement with central bank, debt, bonds, CBDCs, all in test phases. And in every WEF and ECB report, Ripple keeps showing up like a ghost in the machine. Look at the choreography. SEC lawsuit suppresses XRP price. IMF brings Ripple to the table. ECB runs tokenization pilots. BIS tests interoperability with RippleNet banks. UEF praises XRPL tokenization of debt. DNA protocol pilots credential systems, XLS 70 and 80 for institutions and Wall Street. Separate dots or the hidden script of the global reset. Remember, the IMF doesn't print money, it allocates it. Whoever controls the infrastructure of allocation controls the global monetary order. Guess what? Ripple is the plumbing infrastructure of the crypto financial system. The blueprint of SDR 2.0 is already here, and Ripple is woven into it. The mainstream won't say it, but the documents, the meetings, and the pilots already reveal it. That's why XRP is suppressed. Not because it's worthless, because it's priceless. Because the people who know, the IMF, the ECB, the BIS, the WEF are building a system where XRP is the master key. Institutions won't move trillions on XRPL without guardrails and custody. That's why the credential layer will be the most scarce and valuable piece of this new system. Only a few will be holding it, and that is the DNA protocol, XDNA. Comment down below and tell me what you guys think. Are you guys buying into all of this? Do you believe this is actually what is happening? Or do you think this is just a bunch of bullshit? Comment down below. Let me know. XRP Ledger unveils the Firewall. The upcoming XLS Firewall is set to be one of the biggest security upgrades ever on the XRP Ledger, designed to protect XRP holders from scams and give them more control over their transactions. You'll see Uphold Inc. listed among the biggest XRP holders, but those assets belong to our customers, not us. People remember who stood strong in difficult times. This holding is built on trust, not hype. A very big difference. And I honestly wish I had known about Uphold because I was forced to sell my XRP back in 2022, 2023 period where they was being delisted from everything. I really wish I had known about Uphold. And what powers FAssets on Flare? First is overcollateralization. When XRP is minted into FXRP, it's backed by more value than the original deposit. That extra buffer equals economic security. Second, Flare native oracles. FTSO delivers decentralized price data. FDC verifies the events from external chains like XRP ledger transaction. Together, trustless, reliable, and no third-party dependencies. Third, composability. Once you have XRP, you can earn yield, use it in lending or borrowing, stake to mint STXRP for even more options. XRP equals one asset, many possibilities. And this might actually save Polkadot's life. Historical moment. Polkadot supply will be capped. Referendum to cap the supply at $2.1 billion and significantly reduce inflation has passed. Community voted 81%. The code to implement the changes will be submitted soon. This might actually help Polkadot. The reason why I say this might save them, because Grayscale removed Polkadot from its smart contract platform fund, the GSC fund, and it added Hedera HBAR in its place in July of 2025. The UAE is getting serious about enterprise DLT. They've dominated the oil rush, and it looks like they're ready to dominate the digital asset rush. They see where the future of regulated utility is going. Just look at the DLTs they're associated with: XDC, XRP, HBAR, and IOTA. These interconnections are by no means coincidences. They're aligned towards the future vision of ISO standard DLT infrastructure, and we've seen the governments backing them too. So when we see all these entities under the same roof, it's certainly something worth paying attention to. On XDC's network's end, their ties with the Abu Dhabi global markets began before they had even launched. And this is because XDC actually launched right out of Abu Dhabi Global Markets RegLab sandbox. As a result, XDC had already been approved by Abu Dhabi right out of the sandbox. On top of this, we've seen Comtech Gold's backed tokens backed and custody by Dubai's multi-commodity center. IOTA, on the other hand, has just more recently begun getting involved with Abu Dhabi. This was initially through IOTA's approval for a foundation and partnership with ADGM in Abu Dhabi. But this has since expanded to IOTA showcasing tokenization to the UAE Congress and even IOTA token gaining Sharia approval. Hedera's ties in the UAE ranges from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. With Dubai, Hedera has been selected by the Dubai International Financial Center courts. This is the legal entity behind the legal counterparts of the Dubai International Financial Center. Hedera has been selected as a platform for the DIFC courts to carry out digital assets, wills, and inheritances. This is a massively overlooked part of the financial and generational wealth building. After all, it's how wealth is passed down to future generations. And now Hedera is responsible for building the trust layer to that process. On the other hand, we've seen Hashgraph Group obtain a fund license from ADGM for a $100 million Web3 venture fund. Last but certainly not least is Ripple. They've had an operating office and clients based in the UAE since early on in the SEC lawsuit to expand operations beyond the US. And we can clearly see it's paid off since. Ripple now sits as the prime blockchain partner for Dubai International Financial Center. On top of this, we've seen XRP officially approved for utility within the DIFC courts by Dubai Financial Services Authority. And on the Abu Dhabi end, Ripple seems to be doing the same there. The UAE has clearly shown they know what's up. These integrations and partnerships are by no means coincidences. This is the UAE setting up the base for the future of digital assets, and we can directly see what will be powering their future. XDC, HBAR, IOTA, and Ripple. Well, that's what I have for you folks. Until next time, stay savvy, stay stacking, and I'll catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and comment down below. And if you want more crypto deep dives, check out our videos right here on Crypto Mates AI. Thank you for watching. Remember to always do your own research. This is not financial advice.